Hey kids, sweaty, dripping, wet dad here on Saturday, June 6, 2026. 6/6/26. Is that a bad sign? I don't know. It's 3:08 in the afternoon though. I just got in from did a 4-mile run because it is 87 degrees out. It is hot, but I still had to run anyways, right? So I just did 4 miles. Lo and behold, my little Runkeeper app tells me it's my fastest pace for a 3 to 5 mile run. So did it pretty quick. 9-minute, 30-second miles for 4 of them. Yeah, so thinking over my run though. Looking forward to my next gratitude. And next on my list, I come to one that just makes me smile. I looked at my list here, name number 24. Marc E. Marc with a C. Last name E. I will protect his anonymity. And kids, if you ever figure out what that code means, God bless you. God help you maybe. We'll talk offline sometimes about that little code. But Marc with a C. E. He's next on my list because if you're watching these sequentially, you're maybe kind of following a little timeline here. By this point, it's fall of 2024 when I come to meet Marc E. Actually, that's not true. It was December 2024. It was December 17, 2024. I know that date because I will always know that date. I know that date because I have a book that has that date in it. And it says, I'm done drinking. Whenever, whatever, however. 12/17/2024. I signed it. It's in a very special book of mine. It's the first day I met Marc E. And December 17, Marc was one of about 100 guys on a Zoom screen. There's one little square on there. And that morning, December 17, 2024, at 7 a.m., in that meeting with about 100 guys, I was overwhelmed. I'd never been on a meeting with 100 people like that on a Zoom. I'd never been in a men's support group meeting like that one was. And I was in a very, very dark place at that time. Coming up another Christmas without you kids. Was struggling professionally, dying inside, giant hole in my chest, my heart, where you kids used to be. And I was just in a very dark place. And Marc was a smiling face in one little square on the screen. But if you ever see Marc, you'll recognize him because he's got the cool guy hair going. Oh, he's Johnny Cool with his hair. And he's got a really warm smile. He's got sleeve tattoos. So you're not quite sure when you meet him, like, is this guy like a biker? Or is he like a punk rocker? Can't quite figure it out. But over the course of December 17, 18, 19, I kept going back to that men's support group meeting. Because they kept telling me keep coming back. So I went back again. And I went back the next day. And that one guy, Marc E., was consistently very friendly, very just warm. There was something about him, something about his vibe. I don't know if you kids, by the time you see this video, if you still use that word vibe, but he gave me some good vibes. And for whatever reason, on the 24th, December 24th, I'd gone 1 week without a drink of alcohol or any substance in my body. For me, that was impossible by that point in my life. 2024 was a dark year where I couldn't go a day without drinking, and God knows I was trying to. I was trying all sorts of programs with the VA. They're putting me on all sorts of medications. I knew I needed to stop drinking, and I just couldn't. It was becoming what I would turn to when I was depressed and lonely. And as I was dying inside of that big empty hole in my chest, I was filling it with alcohol. And hopefully you kids never understand how that can happen and what that means. But God help us both. If you ever do understand what I mean by that, we need to have a conversation. I can tell you that's the wrong solution for that problem. Alcohol is. So anyhow, December 24th, I've been doing that meeting every day for like 7 days. And somehow, no idea how, I'd gone 7 days without any alcohol. But I knew the next day, December 25th, was Christmas. And I knew that I didn't work that day. And I would sit there in that apartment and I could see it playing out in my head. Or I'd wake up Christmas morning, look at that Christmas tree, look at the presents wrapped for you kids underneath it, and know that it was a second straight Christmas without being able to see you kids or so much as give you a phone call. And I didn't know what I would have done that day. I may have done something colossally stupid. I may have just said, fuck it all, and picked up a drink and just kept drinking until I didn't feel no more. So I was in a lot of pain in my heart. Well, Marc E told people at the meeting, at that morning support group meeting, hey guys, handful of us are going to go meet up down in Minneapolis at Nicollet Diner at about 8 a.m. Christmas morning, if anybody wants to come. And had anybody else said that, I wouldn't have gone. I didn't know these people. These people were just little squares on my computer screen. I'm going to go to some weird diner in Minneapolis that I've never heard of with a bunch of these weird guys on the screen who keep talking about God. Like, that's creepy. But it was Marc E who said it. And something just told me I can trust him. So December 25th, 2024, I went down to Nicollet Diner. I went down there at 8 a.m. It turned out the breakfast was at 9. So I sat down there for about an hour, just drinking a cup of coffee and just thinking, what am I going to do today? Well, how am I going to make it through this day? I don't have work. I don't have family today. I have nothing but to go back and sit in that lonely apartment and look at that Christmas tree with those gifts for you kids under it. And suddenly, a couple of guys show up right about 9 o'clock when they had said. And these guys, I sort of recognized some of them. I recognized Marc though, because I saw that Johnny Cool hair walk in. I'm like, that must be Marc, yes. A lot of the other guys, I don't know, it was a whirlwind. It was, I sort of kind of recognized them a little bit, but it was fuzzy because there's like 100 guys in this meeting and they're all just little Zoom squares and I didn't know any of them. I'd only been going to it for 6-7 days, right? I recognized Marc. And the wild thing is we're sitting there eating breakfast. You know, all the guys get a coffee and they're chit-chatting and they were like normal guys. They were normal guys. They were smiling and joking and they were all giving hugs. They were all giving each other hugs. I wanted to give Marc a hug because I felt like I kind of knew Marc. And I really needed a hug that day. But all the other guys there who I didn't really know so much, didn't really recognize so much, they all gave me hugs too. And we sat there, and I remember I got an omelet, and we sat there for probably 2 hours having coffee and omelets, and these guys were laughing and joking and, you know, telling some stories, and they were like regular guys. And the wild thing that I wasn't used to was nobody ordered a drink. Nobody got a Bloody Mary. Nobody got a mimosa. It was just coffee and traditional breakfast. Yet they were all smiling and happy. And the wild thing is, so then I kind of leave. I don't know, your dad's a little bit socially uncomfortable around groups of people, especially ones he doesn't know. I get tired from it quick. So I ended up leaving after about 2 hours, you know, and thanked him for it. And I'm driving back to that apartment, and I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, these guys are real. These guys in this morning support group meeting I've been going to, they're real. And you know what? They're nice guys. They don't just sit and talk for 2 minutes about this, that, and the other, some philosophical concept of God and how to be a better person, and these steps and whatever the heck kind of weird metaphysical stuff. They're actually really nice, caring people who love and tolerance is their code. And I went back to that apartment that day. I didn't have a single dark thought. The script in my head didn't play out like I thought it would. I didn't sit there staring at that Christmas tree and pick up a bottle of whiskey and drink until I couldn't feel anymore. I ended up, a friend of mine, Larry, I recorded a video about Larry a while ago. Larry's the guy I ended up living with. So that Christmas Day, 2024, Larry invited me over to his house to spend the day for Christmas with his family, because I think he knew I didn't have any place to go. He must have caught wind. He was a pretty smart guy. So I think I told him, we'll see what I have going on. I was too proud. I didn't want to admit I have no family to spend time with on Christmas. But after that breakfast that Marc E had coordinated, I texted Larry. I'm like, you guys still want me over for Christmas? And Larry said, yeah, of course. I said, all right, well, I'll be there about noon. So I ended up going over to Larry's house. Got to spend Christmas with Larry's family. And that's when Larry, on Christmas Day there, he showed me his basement and said, would you like to come live here with us for the next couple of months? Kind of help you get back on your feet. And wow, that was a turning point for me. I would have been homeless at the end of that year. January 1st, I didn't have any place to go. I couldn't afford that apartment in Eagan anymore. I was 6 days away from not being able to pay my rent, and then maybe on another 2 weeks away from getting evicted and having no place to go, no money. But Larry ended up taking me in, and that bridged the gap for about 3 months. So there's a whole video out there, Larry, if you look for my gratitude video on Larry Wall, amazing human being. But the wild thing with this journey has been, if not for Marc E being friendly to me on that meeting, when I showed up and said, I'm Ryan, I need help. And I did that for a couple of days in a row. If not for Marc E being the person he was and putting together a Christmas breakfast for guys who had no place to go, I would have never gone to Larry's that day. And I would have made some very, very bad decisions that Christmas Day 2024. The beauty of this. So, and I've since gotten to know Marc very, very well. Marc has become one of the most cherished people in my life. I don't get to spend as much time with him as I wish I could, but we're both incredibly busy guys, and I think we respect that about each other. That we both stay very busy with service work and trying to help and pay forward to other men. But it's a special bond there, and it always will be. So the beauty is and this is how things come full circle, and this is how when I talk about this gratitude list and trying to pay it forward. This past year, Christmas 2025, I'd said to Marc, like, hey, we're doing that breakfast again, right? And Marc was kind of like, well, I don't know, I hadn't thought about it. I'm like, oh, we're doing it again. So I was able, between me and Marc, we kind of, we advertised it to the guys in that morning support group meeting and let them know. And this time around, I had a couple of dollars. Some angel had dropped some cash in an envelope into my mailbox for me. So I had a couple $100 in my sock drawer. And I told the guys, I said, if anybody doesn't have a place to go on Christmas, we're going to meet at that diner again. Come on out. And by the way, if money's an issue, let me know. I'll buy your breakfast. So not only was I able to help coordinate that breakfast this year in 2025 for Christmas breakfast, it grew. There's about twice as many guys there this year. And I drove three of the guys I got to drive to bring there. And I got to buy breakfast for four or five guys. I paid for their breakfast. That's how this gratitude list works for me, kids. I can never, ever, ever thank Marc, and he will never fully understand how much he saved my life and changed my life with some simple acts that it wasn't even like he made the effort to. He didn't even realize at the time he was doing it. I can almost guarantee that. But it had such a profound impact on me that I could never pay back Mark in any sort of monetary way. I could never say thank you in a way that would mean anything. I could never say it enough times. And he wouldn't want to hear it. He wouldn't want any money anyways. But what I can do is I can pay it forward. I can do what Mark did for me. I can do for other men to the best of my abilities every day. I'm very blessed to get to do that. I'm very blessed to have friends, men like Mark with a C, last name E, in my life. I'll protect his anonymity. But kids, I really hope you get to meet him someday. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm sure you will. He knows all about you kids. You've seen your pictures. He's a big fan of you kids. So anyhow, this is a long one, but if anybody deserves it, it's Mark. I love Mark. I love you kids. We'll talk soon.